Hello everybody, welcome to UKPM Surviving Outdoors here on YouTube, and in this latest UKPrepperman video we're going to be talking about homeschooling and home offices. Stay tuned. So here we are, welcome to the control centre, or as I call it, my home office. Like a lot of people, I have now had to work from home for no other reason than that is what the UK government is saying we should do. The reason is it's to stop the continual and increased spread, really. They're trying this social distancing sort of strategy, and part of that is, apart from obviously closing the pubs and retailers, is to get people to work from home where possible. So you know, this video really is for you if you are now working from home and finding it a little bit of a challenge. Yes, so did I, because you know, it's not normally the thing that you have to do, and it is very, very difficult. It's difficult to try and adapt. It's difficult to try and bring that, you know, day-to-day office, you know, into your home life. Okay, so this video is just really about some tips about that, and about how to make that a little less challenging if you're sitting there thinking, well, hang on a minute, you know, I've been doing this for, I guess, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and it is proving to be very difficult. So a few points, and then we're going to move on to homeschooling, and then we're going to talk about a couple of other things. So without further ado, home office. Okay, this is my home office, and it's not ideal, because the first thing I would suggest is have a dedicated room where you can set up your home office. Maybe a spare room, maybe the attic, maybe a basement, you know, anywhere where you can actually physically set up, which is, you know, a decent temperature, got some ventilation, you know, and got some, you know, natural light, if you will, so that you can actually carry on with your day-to-day activities. That laid a problem for myself, because my own office is all full of my own things at the moment, and to move all that out to put all this in would have just been completely impractical. So it was easier to have like a dedicated office zone, which is where I'm sat here. Okay, basically commandeered an area of our property, set up a table, put my computer on there, phone, tablet, so on and so forth. Okay, the important thing, ladies and gents, is having that area where you can distance yourself away from home life when you're trying to work. And I think it's good for two things. Okay, one, for your obviously for your family, because the last thing you want to be doing is doing too much work within the home, you know, home place, especially if you've got young children. You know, it's trying to be, you know, not just you know, a worker, an office worker, but it's also about being, you know, a family member, and trying to do the two is a little bit difficult. But having that sort of zone where, you know, everything on this desk here is exactly the same as if I was in our normal office, you know, in the city. So that is, you know, a good thing I found. The other option, of course, would be to sit there with a laptop on my knee on the sofa. Not ideal. Okay, it's better to have a dedicated area, but if that's not possible, then maybe you can get these tables which are sort of like, you know, you can angle them, you can put your tablet or you can put your laptop on there, and that at least gives you that sort of you know, area. Okay, maybe, you know, get some, you know, a few things by the side of a chair or the sofa where you can have that sort of area, and that becomes the home office rather than it just spread all around the house. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two is working hours. If you are in a normal office environment, you'll be familiar with working office hours, and here in the UK we have this idea that it's 9 to 5. Though a lot of offices now are open earlier than that, some may be working later than that. Okay, but whatever hours you are used to working, try and stick to them as best as you can. And it is difficult because there is distractions. Okay, but I think for me it was a lot easier to have that sort of idea where I have to be in the office at a certain time, and at the end of the day I have to be out of the office at a certain time, and during the day I'm working apart from my breaks. Once that structure goes, it becomes very fragmented, it becomes very difficult to actually you know, regain that structure. So having that structure at the, you know, the start is a good idea. All right. Mentioned about finishing at the end of the day. Yeah. not taking work, thanks for the sub, whoever's just subbed to the channel, much appreciated. Who taking time out during the day, having the rest breaks, very, very important, okay? There's nothing worse than sitting there in front of a computer for, you know, X amount of time, not having a break. You're going to become very, very tired. You're going to not be performing well. It's not good for your health either, okay? And remember, at the end of the day, if you haven't taken your breaks, you're going to be very grouchy, very cranky in the evenings. You're not going to be, you know, the best person, okay? So breaks, okay, dead important. Make sure that, for me, I have a water bottle I have in the office all the time. I keep it filled up, fill it up at the start of the day. By lunchtime, that would have been drunk. I then fill it back up, and by the afternoon, going home time, that would have been drunk as well. So at least I'm getting, what's that, 800 millilitres, I think, something like that. 1.6 litres, okay? You need 2 litres a day to function, okay? And I do mean water there. Not mentioning the pubs are shut, that's a bit of a shock, isn't it? But no, that is 100% water. Just whatever you have, whether or not it's black currant or orange juice or water, just make sure that you're not having too many teas and coffees. You know, keeping those fluids up, very, very important. And taking that break away from the screen, going up on a walk around the garden, maybe a walk around the street. I know the restrictions are at the moment. When I first was going to do this video, I could have said we can go out a bit more, but now we are basically told that you can only go out once a day for exercise or essential errands. We'll come to that in a bit, okay? But taking that time away, taking that sort of break away, very, very important to do. And the next point I'm going to say is making sure that when you finish, you have finished, okay? Don't work over, don't take work home from home, alright? So, you know, at that end of the day, it's very tempting, you know, depending on how dedicated you are to your business or your job. Some people have this habit of, you know, always having, you know, another mobile phone there or a laptop, and they're always checking their emails and, you know, seeing on what needs to be done. Yeah, needs and demands of businesses, I buy into that, but, you know, it's important to have that break away. Where possible, finish the task and leave it to the following day, okay? But that just comes down to planning, alright? So making sure you're not taking your work home when you're already home, alright? Mentioned about lunches and breaks, as I say, we are restricted now more than ever in what we can actually access, but I've actually found that I've been eating a lot better since I've been at home. We've had some absolutely fantastic stuff that the other half's been making. We've had all this nice home cooked food all the time. Not that we didn't before, but I think when you're out in the office, it's very, very tempting to go to a certain name branded bakeries where you can buy things very, very cheaply and they're not very healthy. And you know, I think, you know, trying to eat properly now is being better, and it's nice to have lunch with the family as well. We've tried to tailor it to the school lunch times, okay? With that in mind, we'll talk about homeschooling, alright? I bet you mums and dads, like me and my other half, when they announced that the schools were going to close indefinitely, we all took a big intake of breath and thought, how is this going to work? And you know, at the end of the day, I think on balance it is working, okay? It's again not without its challenges. Depending on your school, depending on whether or not you've got a school or an academy, most schools, including ours, has prepared like a home learning pack with activities. There's a lot of interaction, again, through social media, you know, really, really good. You know, that's where social media really does work, because the school teachers can interact with the classes and they can see examples of what work has been done. You know, we can post pictures to the online service that is being used and get responses back. Really, really good. So, you know, we have a home learning pack that we can work through. We also have access to some of what they call past papers. So for exams, you get past papers, you know, basically previously used exam papers. So if you have access to those, you know, download those, print them off, you know, you can go through those. I know the exams and everything, depending on how long all this carries on for, you know, can be, you know, put in a bit of a predicament, but, you know, at least it's keeping that learning, it's keeping that structure and that education, alright? Aside with the breaks, again, you know, we've got a rule that we don't use computer games at home, just like you wouldn't use in the school, so we try and do that. Admittedly, we have to have a bit of flexibility with that, because, you know, it's if you're too rigid, you'll get rebellion. That's the way we're finding it at the moment, and I think you've got to be realistic that depending on the age of your child or children, you have to really adapt to this situation, okay? There could be opportunities to do a lot of work outside, okay? So another point, get outside as much as you can. Again, it appeals to people who have green space gardens that they have access to. If you don't, then you've got to make use of the outside space where you can. There are restrictions, but you are still allowed to go out. It's just that you're not allowed to go out as much and as often, and to the places that you really want to go. But say you have a garden, use it, go outside. We've done a lot of outdoor activities. I'm not the most creative person in the world, so I've handed over to my wife for that one. But they've done some outdoor games. So Noughts and Crosses game, which was basically painting onto to rocks, using some sticks and making those. And again, just something different. Okay, making a globe out of papier-mâché or paper-mâché. Basically newspaper and PVA glue over a balloon, and then you paint it, let it dry and everything, and you've got this nice bit of craft work, and it's just something to get involved with, because there's nothing worse than boring it. We're not teachers at the end of the day. We're having to cope with the tools that we have and the experience that we're learning, but I think we're all learning together, okay? And I think it does work out well. And everyone is allowed to go out and get some fresh air, okay? And it's worthwhile using that time. I know it's, the weather hasn't exactly been brilliant recently, but, we've had sort of nice days and then sort of nasty days. At the end of the day, there's the old saying everyone in the outdoors community uses, there's no such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothing. So wrap up, chuck a waterproof on, and obviously if it's raining, and go out and just get some fresh air, okay? Even if it's raining, go for a wet walk, enjoy yourself, get out of that sort of confines of the house, okay? It's nice to get out in the fresh air and get some exercise, and obviously get a bit of air into your lungs. And I've found it's actually been very beneficial to myself. Again, a bit more exercise, a bit more getting out and about. Otherwise you do feel like you're just sitting and slobbing. So all's good in that respect, okay? Which brings me on to me being a bit outdoors as well. I have got myself a slingshot, so I haven't used one of those for years. I've been practicing, I've been getting my iron, as I say, and again, this has all been done in a safety environment. It's all been done in the garden with everything sort of protected, and no damage or anything like that. Okay, so with safety first when anybody's sort of using that sort of thing. Okay, make sure wherever you're shooting, where it's liable to go. All right. Especially if you've got family and pets and all that sort of thing, okay? So, in the back garden I've been doing a little bit of shooting, which is good. Again, just at targets, which is fine. And I've been trying to keep sort of, out of sight of the neighbours, because, it is perfectly legal to do, but it's like people get a little bit daft, a little bit silly about this sort of thing, and the last thing I want is people wasting people's time complaining about stuff. So sense and sensibility. But yeah, if this is an ideal time at the moment to get back into an old hobby, hone those skills as well, because you never know when you might need them in the future, do you? So that was me. Lastly, a little bit of an update on the recent videos that I've done. I did a video about the lockdown in the UK, and yeah, sorry, I think somebody did comment and said the video was a little bit sort of scary. I do apologise if anybody did think it was scary, because it wasn't intended to be scary. It was intended to be pretty sort of dumbed down and realistic, as all my videos I aim to do are. I don't want to sensationalise things, I'm just basically transcribing my own thoughts down and putting those across. So apologies if anybody was scared about that video. I do take that on board. What I would say is that on most of my videos I will say the topic at the start of the video, and if anybody sort of thinks, well, actually that video is not for me, then check through the other videos, because hopefully you'll find one that you like. And similar with the security awareness video that I did. It was going to be a part 1 of 3. I'm in two minds whether or not I'm going to put parts 2 and 3 on, and I'll tell you the reason why. Okay. Part 1, if you've seen it, and if you haven't, go back and have a look, was all about home security, and I was going to split those up. Now, home security, obviously a big thing. Once this is all gone, you know, that's still going to be pretty important. The other two videos we're going to be focusing on personal and vehicle security. Now obviously, you know, there was restrictions on people going out, so for me to do these videos about vehicle security and personal security really would be, I would say, not beneficial. Okay, with that in mind, if you think they are, you know, drop me a comment in the box, and you know, if I get enough interest, I'll put them on. They've not been edited out, so I've got to do that. But if you are interested, have a, you know, put a comment on there, and I'll stick them online. Follow me on Instagram. The link is here. Of course, see fresh content, updates, and you know, stuff in real time as well. So you know, follow me on Instagram and keep a look on that if you want. And if you've enjoyed this video, then check out the other videos over here. And of course, if you have liked this video, then please like, share, subscribe at the bottom. Of course, any comments, love to hear them. And until next time, thanks for watching.